is Awakened Imagination by Neville Goddard, Chapter 7, Creation is Finished. It's been updated language, more gender neutral, and it uses the modern literal version of the Bible. Chapter 7, Creation is Finished. What is has been long ago, and what is to be has long ago been. And God seeks again what has passed away. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. The day I realized that everything in my world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within me, and that the conditions and circumstances of my life reflect the state of consciousness with which I am fused, is the most momentous in my life. But the experience that brought me to this certainty is so remote from ordinary existence, I have long hesitated to tell it, for my reason refused to admit the conclusions to the experience impelled me. Nevertheless, this experience revealed to me that I am supreme within the circle of my own state of consciousness, and that it is the state with which I am identified that determines what I experience. Therefore, it should be shared with all, for to know this is to become free from the world's greatest tyranny, the belief in a second cause. Matthew chapter 5, verse 8, the clean in heart are fortunate, because they themselves will be seeing God. Blessed are they whose imagination has been so purged of the beliefs in second causes that they know that imagination is all, and all is imagination. One day I quietly slipped from my apartment in New York City into some remote yesteryear's countryside. As I entered the dining room of a large inn, I became fully conscious. I knew that my physical body was immobilized on my bed back in New York City, yet here I was as awake and as conscious as I have ever been. I intuitively knew that if I could stop the activity of my mind, everything before me would be free. No sooner was the thought born than the urge to try it possessed me. I felt my head tighten, then thicken into a stillness. My attention concentrated into a crystal clear focus, and the waitress walked not. And I looked through the windows, and the leaves falling fell not. And the family of four eating ate not. And they lifted the food, lifted it not. Then my attention relaxed, the tightness eased, and all of a sudden all moved onward in their course. The leaves fell, the waitress walked, and the family ate. John chapter 4, verse 38. I sent you forth to reap what you have not labored. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labor. Creation is finished. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 15. What is has been long ago, and what is to be has long ago been. And God seeks again what has passed away. The world of creation is finished, and its original is within us. We saw it before we set forth, and we have since been trying to remember it and to activate sections of it. There are infinite views of it. Our task is to get the right view, and by determined direction of our attention, make it pass in procession before the inner eye. If we assemble the right sequence and experience it in imagination until it has the tone of reality, then we consciously create circumstances. This inner procession is the activity of imagination that must be consciously directed. We, by a series of mental transformations, become aware of increasing portions of that which are already is. And by matching our own mental activity to that portion of creation which we desire to experience, we activate it, resurrect it, and give it life. This experience of mind not only shows the world as a manifestation of the mental activity of the individual observer, but it also reveals our course of time as jumps of attention between eternal moments. An infinite abyss separates any two moments apart. Think of the world as containing an infinite number of states of consciousness from which it could be viewed. Think of these states as rooms or mansions in the house of God, and like the rooms of any house, they are fixed relative to one another. But think of yourself, the real self, the imaginative you, as the living, moving occupant of God's house. Each room contains infinite plots and traumas and situations already worked out but not activated. They are activated as soon as human imagination enters and fuses with them. Each represents certain mental and emotional activities. To enter a state, one must consent to the ideas and feelings which that state represents. These states represent an infinite number of possible mental transformations which one can experience. To move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of belief. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. But it must be matched, for that is the necessary condition by which alone it can be activated and objectified. Matching the beliefs of a state is the seeking that it finds, the knocking to which it is open, and asking that it receives. Go in and possess the light. Matthew chapter 7, verse 8. For everyone who is asking receives, and the one who is seeking finds, and the one who is knocking it will be open. Luke chapter 11, verse 10. For everyone who asks receives, and he who is seeking finds, and it will be open to the one who knocks. Exodus chapter 6, verse 4. And I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their travels, in which they travel. Exodus chapter 6, verse 8. Now I bring you into the land which I swore to give Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am Jehovah. The moment an individual matches the beliefs of any state, they fuse with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. It becomes the individual's home from which they view the world. It is a workshop, and if they are observant, they will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of their imagination. It is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were subject to the limitations of the senses and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of God's child that our parent waits for. Romans chapter 8, verse 20. For the creation was subjected to futility, not voluntarily, but because of the one who subjected it in hope. Romans chapter 8, verse 21. But the victory of the Son, the return of the prodigal, assures us that even the creation itself will be made free away from the bondage of corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. We were subjected to this biological experience because no one can know of imagination who has not been subjected to the vanities and limitations of the flesh, who has not gone prodigal, who has not experimented and tasted the scope of experience. And confusion will continue until we awake and a fundamentally imaginative view of life has been reestablished and acknowledged as basic. This grace was given to me, the least of all the whole lot. Actually, this is what Ephesians chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Verses 8 through 10. This grace was given to me, the least of all the holy ones, to proclaim the good news of the untraceable riches of Christ among the Gentiles, and to enlighten all with what the stewardship of the mystery is, of which has been hidden from the ages, in God who created all things through Jesus Christ, in order that now the multifaceted wisdom of God might be made known to the principalities and authorities in the heavenly places through the congregation of believers. Bear in mind that Christ in you is your imagination. As the appearance of our world is determined by the particular state with which we are fused, so may we determine our fate as individuals by fusing our imaginations with ideals we seek to realize. On the distinction between our states of consciousness depends the distinction between the circumstances and conditions of our lives. Humanity, which is free in its choice of state, often cries out to be saved from the state of its choice. 1 Samuel chapter 8, verses 18 through 20. And you will cry out in that day because of your king, whom you will have chosen for you, and Jehovah will not answer you in that day. But the people refused to listen to the voice of Samuel, and they said, No, but we will have a king over us, that they may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us and fight our battle. Choose wisely the state that you will serve. All states are lifeless until imagination fuses with them. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 13. But all things which are reproved are manifested by the light, for everything which is manifested is light. And Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. You are the light of the world. A city laying upon a mountain is not able to be hidden, by which those ideas to which you have consented are made manifest. Hold fast to your ideal. Nothing can take it from you by your imagination. Don't think of your ideal, but think from it. Think from your ideal, from inside. It is the only ideals from which you think. It is only the ideals from which you think that are ever realized. Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, it has been written, man will not be living upon bread alone, but upon every declaration traveling through the mouth of God. And the mouth of God are the minds of humanity. Become a drinker and eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander. And wandering, it eats every negative suggestion. If you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet, you can alter the course of observed events. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. And you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are wanting in fidelity to the new mental diet, which you neglect in order to condemn your environment. You are in need of a new and sustained attitude. You can be anything you please if you will make the conception habitual, for any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention discharges in action. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return to find the state with which you are fused. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work towards fusion with a desired state. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be master of your fate. But unfortunately, you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled. After you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, do not close the experience as you would a book, carried it around like a fragrant odor. Instead of being completely forgotten, let it remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood, often repeated, gains momentum. That is hard to break. This momentum is hard to break or check. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. But the crucial matter is thinking from the end, for thinking from means unification or fusion with the idea. Whereas thinking of the end, there is always subject and object, the thinking individual and the thinking and the thing thought. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, in your love for that state, and in so doing live and think from it and no more of it. You pass from thinking of to thinking from by centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. End of chapter 7.